Now, living overseas with limited ability to supervise their property, a lot of NRIs are often victims of property encroachment in India. How do you tackle these issues?
Property encroachment or illegal occupation is something that almost all of the absentee owners generally suffer from. The reason is pretty obvious. It is because they are themselves not there. This is something that we face hundreds of cases on a monthly basis with inquiries with illegal occupation. So I would like to actually give a complete perspective on this, why illegal occupation happens. So there are four kind of people who are in a property. You yourself, you're an owner and you live there. Perfect situation. Second situation, you are the owner of the property and you've given it on rent, which is a landlord-tenant situation. It is covered very fairly and squarely by the rent laws in India. Number three, there is a caretaker. He doesn't give you rent, but he's there with your consent. He's your relative, he's your niece, he's your nephew, he's an aunt, she's an aunt, he's an uncle. Anybody who's there with your consent, though he's not paying any rent, is a caretaker. And the fourth is a trespasser. Mostly illegal occupations happen in the situation 3, where you have trusted somebody, put him in that property, and now for years he's been staying there. You have never asked him to vacate, you have never asked him to define his status or even try to define his status, and all of a sudden he has very conveniently forgotten that this property does not belong to you. This is why illegal occupation happens. Some of the cases that we see are also of tenants who stop paying rent because they realize that this landlord or the house owner is an NRI or lives overseas and he cannot possibly deal with this matter, so they stop paying rent and they become illegal occupants. So if any of this situation is there, you are yourself to be blamed. I have repeatedly told lots of people in lots of other interviews, and I would like to repeat it here, that please be more proactive, manage your properties yourself, make sure that you do not keep a person in a house or on a land or in an establishment undefined for a continuous period of time, because this is what leads to a situation where people would refuse to vacate. And well, if this has happened, do not let this continue to happen for years as we do, leading to almost like defining their rights. Illegal occupants, when they are in a property for a considerable amount of time, also start to have any rights, just like the squatters' rights as we see overseas. These occupants, if they have been there for more than a certain period of time, they can actually go to the court and claim a legal possession of that property. So this should not happen. Take remedial measures. There are proper measures through the court systems. You can file a suit for possession. Likewise, there are other remedies. In fact, if you find your tenant playing up or being hostile, if you feel your caretaker is not taking the right instructions, immediately severe relations. In fact, I would go a step further. Before putting anyone in your property, you must make a proper legal contract defining his status so that the situation of illegal occupation doesn't happen. There are the police is there, the courts are there to help you. It takes time. A lot of people talk very generically and they say, oh, this takes years. Well, if you have let somebody in the house for 20 years or 30 years or 40 years, you cannot wish him away overnight. Just like a tree, when it takes roots, it's difficult to cut more than a sapling, which is easy to uproot and throw away. Do not let someone become a tree in your property, which becomes very difficult to uproot. Take the proper legal actions, remedial measures in time. Make sure you have a proper contract with the person who is occupying your property. No matter how close he is, Please do not trust blindly, and always make sure that you, at the slightest doubt of your property being taken over, knock on the doors of law and take the necessary legal action to get rid of this problem.
If you are facing challenges with property law in India, NRI Legal Services can always provide you with free initial legal consultation. Get in touch with them today at www.nrilegalservices.com.